Hello, hello, and welcome to this week's episode of The Hard Choice. Simple steps for showing up. My name is Brad Draper. I am your host. I am grateful to be with you. We have a pretty heavy topic today. And this is the first time in years that I'm actually recording on the day of something happening, and I'll be releasing it tomorrow. So as you listen to this today, I actually recorded this yesterday because it is imminent news. It is breaking news. It's happening right now. It's happening at your front door. It is all over the place. So, for those that don't know, a man named Charlie Kirk was killed yesterday, and as of the time of this release. But I'm recording this within just a couple of hours of him being shot, and then about an hour or so of him being confirmed killed. Charlie Kirk was a political activist. He was a conservative political activist that would go from university to university and try and improve the thought processes or challenge the thought processes by way of debate with the youth of America. He was a forward thinker, young 31-year-old man with a wife and two kids, two daughters, 3 and 1 year old. I have kids of similar age. I am of similar age as well. I'm a little older, but similar age. And Charlie is somebody that I looked up to. He's somebody that I followed pretty closely on social media, though I did not personally know him. And he was an activist in political debate. He was very kind in anything I've ever seen, and he had a way with words in debate. And it was sometimes comical rhetoric, sometimes very serious, though the topics were always generally very serious. The comical would be coming from somebody of an extreme right or left. And he was definitely of a right conservative side. But he was shot today here in my home state in Utah, at Utah Valley University, by a currently unknown shooter. They do not currently have the shooter in custody. So they thought they had a suspect. They released him. It was not that person. But this has got my mind really rolling. It has really got me thinking, what are you willing to stand for? Charlie is someone that was well aware that he was standing directly in harm's way. He had been made mention, or he's been known to make mention, that it is unfortunate, but death is an outcome of having the Second Amendment, and we should still have the Second Amendment, or gun violence is a byproduct of the Second Amendment, and we should still have it. So he was well aware that he was in harm's way, and I'm certain that man, being very polarizing, received many, many, many death threats every day. This one is almost certainly planned. This was forethought. Supposedly the shooter was 200 yards away. I'm not sure how that ever happens in today's world, how a shooter gets somewhere that close without being caught, apprehended, what have you. But that's not the point of this episode. The point of this episode is to discuss and for you to think, what are you willing to stand for and to what extent? You're trying to get somewhere. Otherwise, you would not be listening to this podcast. You are trying to build a business. You're trying to build a life, trying to build a family, trying to build your financial foundation, trying to build a legacy, trying to build X. Put it in the slot. Put it on the line, I guess you want to say. On the slot, in the slot, on the line, whatever. You're trying to do these things. What are you willing to do to sacrifice, to invest, whatever verbiage you want to use? What are you willing to do to achieve it? In the case of Charlie, he was trying to truly change the youth of American minds for the positive. He would go from university to university and have fairly large debates. Open, candor, very kind, very non-judgmental debates with whoever wanted to debate him. It was an open mic. He knew the danger he was putting himself in. He was a very, very intelligent man. You know the danger you're putting yourself in. You are a very, very intelligent person. What are you willing to put on the line? Are you willing to put your house? Are you willing to put your career, your name, your family? What are you willing to put on the line? And there's no right or wrong answer. I am unwilling to put my family on the line, right? I'm unwilling to put my wife and my kids on the line. That's why I left my career 3 years ago, because I did not want to sacrifice time with my family, because time is ever moving. I can't say we just, because normally I have previous episodes. I will have an episode on time. This is a first for me, and how unique of an experience it is to cover something of breaking news and how important it is to cover and think about. What are you willing to put on the line? What are you willing to endure? Are you willing to endure humility, hardship, pain, adversity, but also happiness, bliss, joy, satisfaction? Are you willing to push the envelope in whatever it is? Are you willing to endure for however long it takes? Because that's the thing. You can look back and say, well, they only had to deal with that for 6 months, or they only had to deal with that for 2 months, or deal with that for a year or 2 years, or what have you. Got my son here. My 3-year-old's just like slowly walking up to me, trying to get on my lap or something. Welcome to doing this in your house. What are you willing to overcome? But here's the thing. When you're in it, you don't know you're in it for a month or 2 months or 6 months or a year or 2 years or 10 years. You don't know how long it's going to take. You just know it's going to take longer than you would like. And while you're in it, it feels like eternity. Ask me how I know. It is a beautiful experience to grow through whatever the trial is to get to where you're trying to go. But for some people, like Charlie, he was willing to put his life on the line. He, like I said, knew the dangers he was in, yet he still went forward. He still had the meetings. He still had the events. He still had the debates, because his purpose was greater than his life, or else he wouldn't have put his life on the line, right? What are you willing to put on the line? Are you willing to put life and death? Are you willing to endure anything? Or is there some things that are too sacred to you to put on that line? My family is too sacred. My spirituality is too sacred. My code of ethics, my honor is too sacred. There are things that are too sacred. When somebody says, I'm willing to do anything, well, that's just simply not true. They're willing to do a lot, but not anything. Most people, I should say everybody, but I can't say everybody because I'm kind of a man of science. And in science, there's no such thing as 0 and 100%. So most people have a line drawn to which some things will not cross. It's so important to define what that is. So when it gets hard, you know what you're willing to endure and what you're not willing to endure. If you have not definitively decided that your code of ethics, your honor is not for sale, when put in question, you might break it. If you decide that your spirituality is not for sale, when put on the line, you might break it. If you have decided that your relationship with your wife is not for sale, you might break it. We recently had, last week actually, here in Utah, man, things are happening in Utah. What is it with my home state? Come on, guys, get your act together. There was a dean at Brigham Young University, BYU, well-known university. He was a dean. He got arrested for 47 counts of child stuff. How messed up is that? But you know, somebody doesn't just all of a sudden graduate to that level. You don't all of a sudden graduate to all of a sudden now I'm going to go shoot Charlie Kirk. That comes by degrees, line upon line, precept upon precept. I have an entire podcast episode on doing things line by line. into the positive. But that's also how people go negative, extreme negative, is they start a little and grow a lot. I have watched this happen in close relationships to me. People, line by line, precept upon precept, drift away from their center and become an entirely new person, both in the positive, in the resourceful, and in the unresourceful. It is such a fine line. But you have to decide, what are you willing to put on the line for what you want to achieve? And traditionally, the bigger the achievement, the bigger the investment, or the bigger the risk, or the bigger the sacrifice, whatever you want to call it. Typically, those that call it a sacrifice are people that look back and lost. Sacrifice. But people that win, they look back and say, investment. Willing to do it again. Not killing anything, installing it. I really want you to ponder on this topic in your life, in every aspect. Not just your work, not just your career, not just what you're creating, not just with your life, with your spirituality, with your family, with your kids, with all these things that you have before you. What are you willing to go through for them and for that? It matters a lot. It matters immensely on your trajectory. And when you have pre-decided when that obstacle comes, it will be so much easier. It would be vastly easier to go through the trial when you have predetermined the outcome. When we left our house, I had already decided I'm willing to leave my house. I'm willing to be humiliated. I'm willing to look stupid. I'm willing to put my ego on the line. I'm willing to make the hard choice. And I have and did and continue to do. Now, do I want to grease the skids as much as possible? Absolutely. Do I want the easiest path there is available? 100%. But I'm not naive to think that it will always be easy. In fact, it's generally very difficult. But if you do it slow and methodically, you can do it smoothly. And if you do it smoothly, you do it fast. Slow is smooth and smooth is fast. How important these principles are that I wanted to jump in front of the camera on this podcast today, right now, while the emotions and the feelings and the thoughts are very fresh. I have not ruminated on it like I normally do. I normally ruminate for a while and then I record. But I wanted to record right here, right now, while we're in the thick of it. Everything is breaking news right now, and how important that is. Pay attention. The world is shifting. If you think you're safe, if you think everything's holly jolly, you're mistaken. You must build the foundation of your home, build the foundation of your life, build the foundation in resources, in finances, in safety and security, in food supply, food storage, all this stuff. You need to ensure you are solid. And if you aren't, you need to take action. You need to do something about that because your life and your family depend on it. That is what I have for you. I'm grateful for you. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. Thank you for enduring. Thank you for pushing forward. It's people like you that change the world. I hope you know that. You are a transitional character in your family, in your life, and the world is better here because of you. It's better because you are here, and I'm grateful for you. If you want to reach out, let's have a conversation. You can find me on socials, Mr. Brad Draper. Have this conversation with your friends, your family, your loved ones, strangers, whatever. Share this episode. It is the only way it grows. Like this thing, subscribe to it, download it for future listenings. Until next week, I love you guys. Bye.